This is the Headrush Prime, and it's a modeler that I don't see getting as much attention as it deserves. When we are talking about the newest generation of flagship amp modeling technology, we have the Quad Cortex, the ToneMaster Pro, the 𝗏𝗏𝗡𝗏 ecosystem, as well as the Axe-FX3 and the Helix, and the oldest modeler out there that still gets love, the Kemper. Now, I'm fully aware that there are other modelers out there like the Boss GT line, Moorer, Hot Tone, etc. I'm just looking at the most popular mainstream units. Of those listed, the modelers that can provide some sort of amp replicating technology are the Quad Cortex, the 𝗏𝗏𝗡𝗏, and the Kemper, with the Kemper being the oldest and most in need of a version 2. So that really only leaves us with two units that have the full range of effects, routing, and offer analog gear replication. The Quad Cortex and the Headrush Prime. So why isn't there more Headrush Prime coverage in the modeler multi-effects space? What's up everybody, welcome to the channel. My name is Taylor and this is the Headrush Prime, a very capable modeler that can do a huge variety of things. I released a launch video for this unit, but I haven't had it on the channel much since, and the main reason is it's just really large. Luckily, I was able to convince Headrush to send me this much smaller version of the Headrush Prime, the Headrush Core. I mean, look at the size difference between these two. It's pretty crazy, huh? I am a fan of this smaller form factor, but don't let size fool you. This still has all of the same features as the larger counterpart. However, for me, I just prefer the small form factor since my primary use for this gear is making content for you guys. Now today, I wanted to focus on the amp cloning capabilities since there was recently an update that improved the amp cloning on the Headrush Prime products. I think that the amp cloning is really excellent on these units, and I'm really excited to check it out. I want to compare some clones that I made prior to the update, and then I want to capture something that's a little unique to sort of illustrate what I like about the Headrush Prime's capturing capabilities. As always, I'm really curious to hear what you guys think about this ever-evolving modeler space, and if there's anything you want to see, definitely let me know down in the comments. By the way, if you're interested in checking out either one of these units, I will leave my Sweetwater affiliate link down in the description below. It helps out the channel at no additional cost to you, and you'll have my eternal gratitude. All right, with all that said, let's read the specs. The Headrush Core has all of the power and features that you've come to know from the Headrush Prime flagship unit. It also features the same 7-inch touchscreen. It contains an immense library of masterfully modeled amplifiers, guitar effects, and pedals, speakers, cabs. We even have Antares Auto-Tune in there as well. Now, like I mentioned, the Headrush Core also has the same amp cloning technology in it as the Headrush Prime flagship board. That means that you can use Headrush's cloning technology to create digital emulations of your favorite pedals or amplifiers. You can also use the Headrush Core as an audio interface. It has an XLR 1/4-inch combo jack for your microphone, a 1/4-inch TS jack for your guitar, a 1/8 TRX auxiliary input. We have two 1/4-inch outputs that are left and right respectively, two XLR outputs that are also left and right. We also have MIDI in and out options. On the USB side, there are actually two USB ports. One is a Type B to use the Headrush Prime Core as an audio interface. The other is a Type A for memory. Speaking of memory, there is a built-in looper that lasts up to 20 minutes. Now, even though on the Headrush Core there are less foot switches and no expression pedal, you still have the expandability to add an expression pedal if you would like. And the Headrush Core weighs in at about 8.5 pounds, whereas the Headrush Prime weighs an astonishing 16.5 pounds. So we are looking at a nearly 50% weight reduction on the Headrush Core. All right, I have the Headrush Core plugged in here. I have updated it to the 3.1 whatever firmware that has been updated that improved the amp cloning. It's there. The first thing I want to do here is I want to build a patch, and I want to build a patch with an amp clone. Let me show you why first though. So the way that this is set up is I'm playing my Deviant Guitars Grimoire plugged into the Headrush Core. That is going XLR out directly into my audio interface, so that way we can listen to the onboard cabinet simulation. But I am also running out into this Heavy Earth Effects power amp pedal. Higher power. That is powering this 𝗏𝗏𝗡𝗏 4x12 cab mic'd up with a Voodoo Ribbon 1 microphone from 𝗦𝗏𝗔𝗍 Electronics. No post-processing or anything like that. I'm just letting you hear directly what's coming out of this thing. We're gonna go in here and we're gonna split this signal path. Okay, so we have our signal chain split here, and then we're going left and right. Now the first thing I wanna demonstrate is I wanna show you one of these amps. These are the Headrush amps here, and let's just do something that you would assume that a guy like me, a metal guy, would get along with. We'll do the PV5152 lead channel. Now we're just listening to this directly through the cab for this comparison. We don't need to check the internal IRs. Let's adjust this a little. You'll notice with the post EQ that it's not really moving the volume much. It's just adding power amp saturation. let's go to one of the amp clones now. These are some of the clones that I have on the Headrush Cloud. If you're interested in these, you can go download these, you know, on the Headrush Cloud. Just search my name, you'll find it. For example, my Deliverance 120. I really think it speaks to how good the amp cloning is on the Headrush Prime family as well. These things sound really, really excellent, especially when you use them through an actual cabinet. Okay, let's go back here. Let's add a boost in, because this is a clone of my Deliverance 120, and I would always use a boost in front of this amplifier. It's just one of those types of amps where it needs a boost. Let's actually use an S1 drive on this. We'll just go with the default settings, and you can have different presets for every block, which is cool. I usually find myself just going to the default setting and dialing in anyways, but you know, it's nice that you can do that. Let's set this like that. Yeah, it sounds really, really excellent. I enjoy this a lot. And I'm so glad that I have the smaller Headrush Core board now too, because I feel like this is gonna get a lot more use now. The technology was always really good in the Prime units. I really like the amp cloning. I'm glad they've improved it. It shows that they're supporting their product, which is always a really, really positive sign. But the other one's just too big. You know, it's just like, it doesn't fit on my desk. And anytime I wanna use it, it's like I have to get a side table out to put it on so I can actually use it. You know what I mean? It's just, it's a lot. It's a lot of hardware. Now, if you need something that has all of the pedals on it, the expression pedal and all that, more power to you. For me personally, especially like in this space here, and what I normally use these type of modelers for, like shootouts and stuff like that, this is just so much easier to work with. So really, really excited to finally have one of these here. Let me show you one more of these amp clones, and then we will actually use the new firmware to clone a new amplifier, and we'll see how that goes. This is the Ampeg VH140C. And this is very noticeable too. The reason that I chose to compare kind of these two is because the Deliverance 120 is a KT88 tube amplifier, and this does a really great job of capturing all of those unique characteristics of that amplifier in stark contrast to the VH140C, which is a solid state amplifier. It's a little bit flat, it's a little bit controlled, it's got that ice picky sort of sound that all of the 90s death metal enthusiasts love. And if we go back to the Deliverance 120 here, it just sounds warm, it sounds more full-bodied, it sounds more like a tube amp. And especially when we boost this guy, you really get the effect of boosting a tube amplifier, you know? Yeah, just really cool. Let's throw a cab on here, and we're not gonna do anything like super crazy. Let's go with one of the revolver cabs, and let's do something similar to this one so you can hear sort of like the comparison in between two similar cabinets. You know what I'm talking about. Oh, classic 30 watt, there you go. 412 classic 30 watt. I'm just gonna leave those at default values. Okay, it's very, very cool, and I'm getting carried away because I'm actually really enjoying playing through this right now. But let's try to capture an amplifier with it. Well, let's try and do something like a little bit unique too. Okay, I have my Randall Satan plugged into the effects loop. I'm going out of the effects send from the Headrush Prime Core into the input of the Randall Satan that is coming out of the cabinet out, or like the power amp send, into the torpedo captor, and then that is going back into the effects loop return on the Headrush Core. Now, why am I doing it this way? I want to get all of the tube power amp goodness out of the amplifier in this clone that we're going to make, because I want to be able to power it with the solid state power amp, which will not color the signal in any way. So I want to make sure that I have that power amp emulation in there too, if you get what I'm saying. So since I have this all dialed in and everything, I don't need to do anything else here. We're going to go into the amp cloner, and it's going to tell us what configuration things are you cloning. We're going to hit amp and preamp, hit next, and then I need to go to the connection diagram. This is going to go out of the left output. Left 1/4 inch output goes in the input of the amplifier, and then the return from the amplifier goes to the mic. Turn the Headrush's mic gain knob to adjust the input level. We advise aiming for an input level of -6 dB when your guitar is played. Okay, I'm about -6 dB right now. We're gonna hit next. Now this is the cool thing that I like about the Headrush Prime, is it actually asks you to dial in your settings. Like, it's not just capturing everything at noon, even though your amp is not dialed in at noon. So you can go in here and you can change your settings to correspond with your amplifier. Let's do that now. And probably, like, I'm not gonna get too specific with this, but it's probably about something like that. We're gonna hit start clone. We'll see how this clone turns out in comparison to the ones that I captured before this firmware update. Yeah. Okay, cool. Here's the amp. Here's the amp clone. I'm listening to this through studio monitors on the other side of this room right now, so I'm not sure like the details on how accurate those are, but the cloning process goes really quickly, and you can fine tune things here if you want to. Like, if you wanted to adjust the amp clone default settings, you could do that in here to more closely match your amplifier. But we're just gonna go ahead and confirm and save this. And in full disclosure, this is actually my 3rd capture. I had to get out a DI box because this amp is pretty noisy, and I had too much noise in the line to get a good capture of it. And also I just had to do it 3 times because maybe it's user error or whatever, but I just wasn't getting like good results. So I actually did like a reboot and then tried it again and worked out great. All right, I'm back. I have the Satan captured into the Headrush Core. Let's just listen to it. Now, the thing that I think is really good about the amp cloning in the Headrush Core is not only is it like fast, you know, like it doesn't take much time to actually clone the piece of gear that you are trying to create a digital copy of. Also, the fact that you could dial it in kind of at the settings that you capture it at. When you go back, because one of the things I noticed was this is really bright, so I could just like turn the presence down, and it behaves similarly to turning the presence down on the amp. The reason that I wanted to use the Satan amplifier is because the Satan has this sort of like Fortin thing going on, if you know what I'm talking about. The high end is crunchy and really in your face. It's very much been my experience using anything Fortin related that you just get this like breakup in the top end that is sort of unique to the Fortin stuff. And I think that this actually did a good job of capturing that. Yeah, you can hear it even more when I turn the presence at the actual level that I captured it at. You can just really hear that coming through. But let's try out some other amp clones and see if that is true with those also. I'm gonna load up some clones from Amp Guru. If you happen to have a Headrush unit, I'll link his website in the description, but you can go to Amp Guru to get these tones. So these are the different packs he has on the Headrush. He has a Fortin pack. So we have a Cali, we have a Meshuggah amp. Let's try this Cali Violent Hair 3. Let's try one more of these Cali Fortin models. Let's just go with Violent Thump 2. These are probably like dark, mid, and then bright or something like that, if I had to guess. You could definitely hear the gain structure I'm talking about in the top end a lot with this clone. what happens if we boost this? Does it hold up? Does it fall apart? Let's find out. Yes, you can. You could boost the clones and they sound good. Let's turn that SD drive off. Let's do another one here. Let's do something that is not a Fortin. I mean, look at this. We have KSR, we have Wizard, MLC, Omega, Driftwood, Bogner. You know, let's just go with the Bogner Ultra, right? This is like the newest amplifier in this list. Gain texture totally changed. It's more like HM2-esque, I would say almost. Ooh, Pitbull lead. Yeah, you know, it has that VHT Pitbull, like dry sort of gain sound. You know, it's just really cool. It does a good job at capturing those things. If you like this video, make sure to hit the like button. If you like what I do here on this channel, consider subscribing or joining my Patreon. There's more information on that down in the description below. Until next time, I'll see you guys later. Bye.